Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're exploring Lincoln Wheat penny coins, classic American cents known for their iconic wheat design on the back. These coins were made decades ago, and while many are still easy to find, some are rare and highly sought after by collectors. Let's take a look at what makes these old pennies special and which ones might be hiding serious value. First up, the 1944 Lincoln Wheat penny without a mint mark is one of the most recognized coins from the mid-20th century United States coinage. Minted at the Philadelphia Mint, which did not use a mint mark during that period, this coin is part of the long-standing Lincoln cent series that began in 1909. The 1944 issue holds a particular historical importance due to the time in which it was produced and the circumstances surrounding its composition and widespread use. The coin features the classic image of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side. This portrait was designed by Victor David Brenner and has been a lasting feature of the United States 1-cent coin since its introduction. The design was created to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth and continues to be celebrated for its simple dignity and strong visual presence. Lincoln is shown in profile facing right, with the inscriptions indicating the date and the phrase "In God We Trust" above his head and "Liberty" to his left. On the reverse side, the wheat penny design includes two stylized wheat stalks bordering the words 1 cent and United States of America. This design element symbolizes agricultural strength and was a standard feature of Lincoln cents from 1909 through 1958. The phrase "E pluribus unum" appears along the upper rim of the reverse side, emphasizing unity among the states. The wheat ears design was eventually replaced in 1959 with the Lincoln Memorial, but the earlier version continues to be popular among collectors. The 1944 Lincoln Wheat penny is particularly notable for its composition. During World War II, copper was a critical material for military production, and in 1943, the United States Mint temporarily struck pennies in steel coated with zinc. However, this decision was short-lived due to widespread complaints about the coins rusting and being confused with dimes. As a result, in 1940, the Mint returned to a copper-based composition but used recycled shell casings from the war effort. This gave the 1944 penny a unique backstory tied directly to the wartime experience of the United States. This coin in question shows visible scratches and signs of wear indicating it has been in circulation for a significant period. Scratches are common on coins that have seen regular use, and while they reduce the overall aesthetic and potential value, they also tell a story of long-term utility and the passage of time. A circulated coin with such marks has likely traveled through countless hands and been part of many transactions across the country. It could have been used in stores, schools, or homes and has silently witnessed daily life during and after a pivotal time in American history. The 1944 Lincoln penny was produced in extremely high numbers, with over 1 billion coins struck that year across all mints. The Philadelphia Mint alone produced hundreds of millions, which makes this coin common in terms of availability. However, collectors still value examples that are in better condition or those that retain an original reddish hue from the copper. Even coins with scratches or surface marks are kept as part of collections due to their historical relevance and the interest they generate as wartime relics. From a collector's perspective, a coin with scratches like this one would be classified as circulated and likely fall into a lower grade on a professional scale. Yet it can still hold value, particularly to those who focus on assembling complete date sets or those who appreciate coins for their story rather than for their perfection. Coins with visible imperfections offer a more human connection to the past and serve as tangible links to previous generations. The metal composition of this penny adds to its interest. It is made primarily of copper with a small percentage of tin and zinc. The use of recycled shell casing material adds a layer of symbolism. The war effort and domestic life were closely intertwined during the 1940s. Even everyday items like coins were repurposed and adjusted to meet the needs of a nation at war. This coin is not just a piece of money, it is a piece of American resilience and adaptation. Next up we have the 1948 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark is a coin that carries historical and numismatic interest. Minted at the Philadelphia Mint, which did not use a mint mark, this coin is part of the iconic Lincoln Cent series that began in 1909. The Lincoln Wheat Penny was introduced to commemorate the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth, and it remains one of the most collected and studied coins in American history. The 1948 issue reflects the post-war era when the United States was recovering from World War II and entering a period of economic growth and social change. On the obverse side of the coin is the profile of President Lincoln facing right. This design was created by Victor David Brenner and is notable for being the first United States coin to feature a real person's image instead of a symbolic representation of liberty. The word liberty appears to the left of Lincoln's portrait, and the phrase "In God We Trust" is written above. The date 1948 appears to the right of Lincoln's image. The design has endured with only minor changes through the decades, and it remains an enduring tribute to the 16th President of the United States. The reverse side of the coin features the classic wheat-ears design that was in use from 1909 through 1958. The words 1 cent and United States of America are prominently displayed in the center, with a pair of stylized wheat stalks curving along the edges. Above this is the Latin motto E pluribus unum, which translates to out of many, one. This reverse design reflects the agricultural roots and strength of the United States during the early to mid-20th century and is a favorite among collectors for its simplicity and symbolism. The particular 1948 Lincoln Wheat Penny described here shows signs of a red shade and visible rust. The red coloration is often sought after in copper coins, especially if it is close to the original color seen when the coin was first minted. This coloration indicates that some of the original mint luster has been preserved. However, the presence of rust suggests exposure to moisture or corrosive environments at some point during its lifetime. Rust or corrosion on a copper coin usually appears as dark patches or pitted areas and can affect both the aesthetic and value of the coin. Despite the presence of rust, the red shading still indicates that some parts of the coin retain a more original appearance. Collectors often describe copper coins based on the amount of original red color that remains, using terms like red, brown, and brown. A coin with a red shade is considered more desirable than one that has fully turned brown due to oxidation. However, rust is not typical on copper and may indicate environmental damage, which could lower the coin's grade in a professional assessment. In terms of mintage, the Philadelphia Mint produced a large quantity of 1948 Lincoln Wheat Pennies, making them common in circulation and among coin collections. However, coins in higher grades with minimal wear and full original color are more valuable. This specific coin, having both red tone and rust damage, suggests it has been circulated and exposed to elements over time. Its condition tells a story of its journey through decades of use, possibly passing through countless hands and transactions. For collectors, condition is a key factor in determining a coin's value. Professional grading considers luster, detail, strike, and preservation. A coin with rust would likely be placed in a lower grade due to the surface issues. However, for many collectors, especially those building a date collection, the historical context and completeness of the collection are more important than pristine condition. This coin, while not perfect, serves as a tangible link to post-war America and the daily lives of people in the late 1940s. During 1948, the United States was in a time of significant change. The war was over, the economy was booming, and Americans were adjusting to new roles and opportunities. The Lincoln penny continued to serve as a daily tool for commerce and was often taken for granted despite its rich symbolism and national significance. Coins like this one circulated widely and played a role in everyday life, from purchasing goods to being saved in jars, drawers, and pockets for small savings. Next up we have the 1952 Lincoln Wheat Penny is a coin of historical and numismatic interest that reflects the legacy of American coinage during the mid-20th century. Minted at the Denver Mint as indicated by the small letter D below the date on the obverse side. This coin is part of the long-running Lincoln Cent series, which began in 1909 and continues in various forms to this day. The wheat penny design was used from 1909 through 1958 and is beloved by collectors for its classic imagery, its link to American history, and its representation of a significant period in United States coin production. The 1950 to D penny in circulated condition holds particular value as a reflection of everyday commerce and the role of coinage in post-war America. The obverse of the 1950 to D penny features the familiar right-facing portrait of President Abraham Lincoln. This design by Victor David Brenner marked a turning point in American numismatic tradition, as it was the first regular issue coin to feature actual person rather than an allegorical figure. Lincoln's image is surrounded by the word liberty. On the left side, the phrase "In God We Trust" along the upper rim, and the year 1952 to the right. The small D mint mark beneath the year identifies the coin's origin at the Denver Mint, which was one of the three main facilities producing cents during this period alongside Philadelphia and San Francisco. On the reverse side of the coin, the classic wheat ears design is prominently displayed. To stylize stalks of wheat curve along the left and right edges enclosing the denomination 1 cent and the inscription United States of America. Above these words is the Latin phrase E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one, which is a traditional motto of the United States. This simple but elegant design highlights the agricultural roots of the nation and emphasizes unity and strength. The wheat reverse is often admired for its clean lines and symbolic imagery, and it became a staple in American coin collecting after its replacement by the Lincoln Memorial reverse in 1959. The 1950 to D Lincoln wheat penny had a large mintage, with over 746 million coins struck, making it a common date among wheat cents. Coins from this mintage are often found in circulated condition, having been used in commerce throughout the second half of the 20th century. The example described here is in circulated condition, which means it shows signs of use and wear from being handled in day-to-day transactions. Circulated coins typically have smoothing on the high points of the design, such as Lincoln's cheek, jaw, and the wheat ears on the reverse. The surfaces may exhibit minor scratches, dirt, and discoloration as a result of their journey through the hands of countless individuals over decades. Despite being circulated, this coin remains an important historical artifact. It tells the story of an America that was thriving in the post-war era, with strong industrial growth, a booming population, and a rapidly changing society. Coins like this one passed from hand to hand in grocery stores, gas stations, schools, and small businesses, reflecting the rhythms of daily life. In many ways, the Lincoln cent was a quiet companion to the economic expansion of the 1950s, serving a practical purpose while also standing as a symbol of the nation's democratic ideals and historical memory. For collectors, a circulated 1950 to D penny is not especially rare, but it remains desirable for those building a complete set of Lincoln wheat pennies. Many collectors seek to obtain one coin from each year and mint mark combination, and this coin fills an important spot in that timeline. It may not command a high price in the market due to its common mintage and worn condition, but its value lies in its historical context and its role in the broader story of American coinage. Coins in circulated condition can vary widely in appearance depending on how they were handled and stored. Some may have a uniform brown color due to natural oxidation of the copper, while others may retain a hint of the original red or red-brown luster. The coin described here as circulated may have a darker tone with noticeable surface wear, but still retains its fundamental details and legibility. Collectors often use grading scales to evaluate such coins, and a circulated 1950 to D penny might fall somewhere between fine and very fine depending on the level of wear. Next up, we have the 1937 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is a historical and collectible coin that captures a moment in the early 20th century United States. As part of the Lincoln Cent series, which began in 1909. The 1937 penny reflects the enduring popularity of this design and the values associated with its imagery. The absence of a mint mark on this coin indicates that it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, the primary and oldest facility in the United States mint system. Coins minted in Philadelphia during this time typically did not carry a mint mark, which is standard for many Lincoln cents from the early to mid-20th century. This particular coin is described as being in good condition, which means it still retains the main design details, although there may be visible wear from circulation. The obverse of the 1937 Lincoln wheat penny features the iconic image of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. The profile of Lincoln faces to the right with the inscription "In God We Trust" arching along the top of the coin above his head. To the left of the portrait is the word liberty, and to the right is the year 1937. The overall design of the obverse has a simple elegance and continues to represent Lincoln's legacy of leadership, unity, and the pursuit of freedom and justice. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this image of Lincoln was the first time a U.S. coin featured a real historical person rather than a symbolic or allegorical figure, which was a notable departure from earlier numismatic tradition. The reverse side of the 1937 penny carries the classic wheat ears design, which gave the coin its nickname, the wheat penny. Two stylized wheat stalks curve upward along the left and right edges of the coin, encasing the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America in the center. Above these words is the national motto E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one, which reflects the unity of the states into one nation. This reverse design was used on Lincoln cents from 1909 until 1958, and it holds a nostalgic and historic value for collectors who appreciate the symbolism and aesthetic of early American coinage. The year 1937 was a time of slow recovery from the Great Depression, which had deeply impacted the American economy throughout the 1930s. Coin production during this period was adjusted based on economic needs and demand for small denomination coinage. The Philadelphia Mint produced a substantial number of Lincoln cents in 1937, totaling over 309 million coins, which makes this issue relatively common compared to other years. Despite the high mintage, the age of the coin and its design significance still make it desirable among coin collectors, especially for those working to complete a full set of Lincoln wheat pennies. A 1937 Lincoln penny in good condition shows noticeable wear, but the major details remain clear. The outline of Lincoln's portrait should be visible, although finer features like hair lines and facial detail may be worn down. On the reverse, the wheat stalks may show some flattening, and the inscriptions may not be as sharp as on uncirculated examples, but they are still legible. Collectors use a grading scale to determine the condition of a coin, and good condition generally means it has seen significant use but remains identifiable and complete in form. Collectors often value such coins not only for their potential market worth, but also for the story they tell. This coin may have passed through the hands of Americans during a time of economic recovery or during the lead-up to World War II. It may have been used in daily purchases such as bread, newspapers, or other essentials, making it a small but tangible piece of everyday life in 1937. In this sense, the coin serves as a physical connection to a bygone era, allowing modern collectors to hold history in their hands. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series is among the most collected coin series in American numismatics due to its long-run historical significance and relative affordability. Coins like the 1937 issue offer an excellent opportunity for new collectors to begin their journey without the need for high investment, while still appreciating a coin that has aged with grace. Enthusiasts who specialize in wheat pennies often seek to collect one from each year and mint mark, which adds to the appeal of a no-mint mark coin from Philadelphia. The 1937 Lincoln penny is also representative of American craftsmanship and minting standards of the time. Struck primarily in a bronze composition, the coin is made mostly of copper with small amounts of tin and zinc. This composition gives the coin its characteristic reddish-brown hue, although exposure to circulation, handling, and environment can affect its color over time. Many older coins develop a rich patina that varies depending on how they were stored and used over the decades. For those interested in numismatics, the study and collection of coins, a 1937 Lincoln wheat penny offers a starting point into a much broader historical narrative. It provides insight into the economic conditions, the artistic choices made by designers, and the ways in which coins traveled through society. While it may not be considered rare in the traditional sense, its age, design, and historical context make it a meaningful addition to any coin collection. Next up we have the 1953 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is a coin that holds both historical significance and collectible interest for those passionate about American numismatics. This coin was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not use a mint mark on its coins during this time period. The Lincoln wheat penny series itself began in 1909 and continued through 1958 with the wheat design on the reverse side. As part of that long-running series, the 1953 issue represents one of the many years that contributed to the penny's evolution and widespread use in everyday commerce across the United States. With the coin being in circulated condition, it shows signs of wear from being handled, used, and exchanged during countless transactions through the years, yet it still retains the original design elements that define the Lincoln cent series. The obverse of the 1953 Lincoln wheat penny features the familiar profile of President Abraham Lincoln facing right. The portrait of Lincoln is framed by the inscription, "In God we trust," above his head the word liberty on the left side and the date, 1953, on the right. This design was created by Victor David Brenner, who became well known for this particular engraving. His initials can be seen at the bottom of Lincoln's shoulder on many examples of the coin. The design was meant to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth and was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure rather than a symbolic representation. This marked a turning point in American coin design, reflecting a shift toward honoring actual leaders and shaping public memory through currency. The reverse side of the 1953 Lincoln penny is equally iconic, featuring the denomination 1 cent prominently in the center with the inscription United States of America beneath it. Arched above these words is the motto E pluribus unum, which means out of many one. Flanking the text on either side are two stylized wheat ears, giving the coin its nickname the wheat penny. This design was in use from 1909 to 1958 and is cherished by collectors for its simplicity and historical resonance. The wheat symbolizes agricultural strength and productivity, one of the foundational themes in early American iconography and a reflection of the values of the time. In circulated condition, a 1953 Lincoln penny may show various levels of wear. The finer details of Lincoln's hair and facial features may be smoothed out from handling, and the lines on the wheat stalks on the reverse may not be as sharp as on uncirculated examples. Despite this, where the key design elements typically remain visible and legible, making the coin identifiable and still desirable to collectors, especially those assembling complete sets of wheat pennies. Circulated coins often carry more personal charm. They have passed through the hands of many individuals over the decades and may have been used in everyday transactions, such as buying a newspaper or candy in the 1950s. The year 1953 itself was a notable period in American history. Dwight D. Eisenhower began his first term as president that year, bringing a new tone to the post-World War II political landscape. The country was navigating the early years of the Cold War, and American society was shifting toward economic growth, suburban expansion, and cultural change. Coins from this time offer a tangible link to that past, serving as silent witnesses to the events and everyday lives of people who lived during that era. Holding a 1953 Lincoln penny is like holding a small piece of that mid-century experience in one's hand, a reminder of simpler purchases and slower times. From a numismatic standpoint, the 1953 Philadelphia Lincoln wheat penny had a high mintage, with over 250 million coins produced. While this makes it a relatively common coin, it is still significant in the context of building a complete date and mint mark collection. Collectors often see coins from every year and every mint involved in the Lincoln Wheat series and the 1953 issue, an essential piece of that puzzle. Its availability in circulated condition makes it accessible to new collectors while still being appreciated by seasoned enthusiasts who value its historical role and design. The composition of the coin is primarily bronze, a blend of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This alloy was typical of most Lincoln pennies produced prior to the mid-1980s and gives the coin a rich red or brown tone depending on its age and how it has been stored or handled. Over time, exposure to air, moisture, and handling can darken or alter the surface of the coin, which is expected for circulated coins. Despite such changes, many of these coins have retained their appeal due to their durability and solid design elements.